all, and welcome back to another thrilling episode of Off the Dome. I'm your humble interviewer, Jordan Brown, and with me for the very first time is our prolific player. Say hi, prolific player.
Hi, prolific player.
Danielle, thank you so much for joining me. I just said this before we started recording, but what a week! Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's it's good. I'm still, I'm still broke though, so
that's why you're here.
That's why I'm here. Yeah,
to promote
but no, it's been
things.
Good. Yeah,
yes,
it's
good. Yeah, we got Goblin Mode, we got Misfits in Magic 2, so many exciting things. But I want to start with obviously the most important possible question. If you were a professional wrestler, what would your signature finishing move be? Assuming assume no limitations to anything.
Okay, that's a hard one because I love a curb stomp. I love a crossface. I'm real big. I like submissions. I think that sometimes I like the act of submitting. That sounds gross. But I enjoy those. But I've always had a penchant for people who are able to take what seems like a very small move and make it a very big deal. The People's Elbow or the Rock's Elbow being a huge example of that. So I think it would be fun to take something like just like flicking someone or mushing someone in the face and make it seem very scary. Oh, the Iron Claw. That is a move that is essentially just mushing people in the face and making it look very scary. I think I would like a mush. I'd like to mush people.
That's very good. Yeah, I haven't watched wrestling in probably 25 years, but
most people haven't. It's fine.
Yeah. I understand it's still very popular. I just
yeah. It goes through waves, just like anything else. And right now, we are in a big I'm doing anything. Wrestling is in a huge wave right now, and there's lots of theories for that. There's more than one company right now, so it's not just WWE, and that makes a huge difference. But also, it's in a big. It's having a moment, and it's very fun for me because for the most part, except for those periods where I feel like they haven't been doing very well by women. And other marginalized folks, those tend to be when I check out. And so and by not doing well, I mean when we're doing nothing but putting matches, and the women are maybe getting a match for 1 minute, and in that minute it's about who can spank who first, and it's that kind of stuff can be fun, but I want to see real wrestling as well. Anyway, sorry, this isn't a wrestling podcast. I could do this for 4 hours.
Speaking of wrestling podcasts, you have a wrestling podcast, right? Let's plug it right out the gate.
Oh, let's do it. Sure. Yes, I do have a wrestling podcast. It is called Tights and Fights. It's on the Max Fun Network. It is me, comedian, improviser, voice actor Hal Lublin, Lindsay Kelk, who is a romance, she writes rom-coms, which really that's what wrestling is. It is a rom-com with fists. And we're on the Max Fun Network, and it's really fun. I've been doing it there. Gosh, I think it's been since 2016 we've been doing that podcast. So it's fun. It's every week I get to hang out with my friends and talk wrestling, and I forget that other people are listening, to my own detriment. I am sure.
Can I tell you my one wrestling story?
Yes.
I worked at I don't know what it's called now. At the time, it was called the Savvis Center. It's where the St. Louis Blues play hockey. And I worked in the warehouse, which means I took cups and things to the concession stands when they ran out. Very exciting stuff. Anyway, WWE was there one night, and they used our warehouse doors as the entrance to the building because it looked good and it looked like a building entrance, even though obviously it was not coming from the outside. And it was super fun to be in where they were headed out to the ring, because they're all just sitting around, just
it's called
about
Gorilla.
to run out and
Yeah. So there's a specific name for that area where you see where all of it looks like Video Village, where all of the monitors are, and you'll see maybe you'll see the bigger dudes like Triple H or any of those, and people are getting ready to go out into the arena. That is called Gorilla, because Gorilla Monsoon used to stand there while he was prepping people and getting ready for matches, and so there is an actual area for that. That is called Gorilla.
I love that. I think it was Jeff Hardy. Did Jeff Hardy used to paint an X on his face? I feel like he did, right?
He sure did. He painted a lot of stuff on his face. Still does.
Yeah. I went to the bathroom and he was in the bathroom painting the X on his face. And I said, you don't have someone that does that for you? And he goes, I like to do it myself. And I was like, all right.
It helps him get into character.
Yeah, that was the full interaction that we had. I was just really surprised to see a professional wrestler doing his own makeup in the not like a green room, whatever, like private bathroom. Nope. He was just in the bathroom where every employee went.
Love it. Just carny stuff. Carny stuff.
It was delightful. I have no transition out of this. But speaking of gorillas,
there we go.
Goblin mode? There's probably a gorilla in there somewhere.
It starts with a G. We're good.
Yeah. Oh man, I watched episode 1 of Goblin Mode last night. An absolute delight. It's so much fun. Busy the skeleton, yes.
Busy
the skeleton. For those, I'm assuming most people already know what it is. For those that don't know what it is, can you give us a quick synopsis of this Amy Vorpal-led Deacon Sundry is back, baby adventure?
Yeah, so the kind of main plot and premise of this is that we are minions and we are in a dungeon. The dungeon is our entire life, and the dungeon gets taken over by heroes on a quest. They go in and they do as you do. As a hero on a quest, you go into the dungeon and you vanquish everyone there. And so they have demolished it and done all the looting, and we are the minions who have survived. And so now, our evil overlord is dead. We are trying to figure out our places in the world now that we know things. And so I guess, there's that thing of like born sexy yesterday. I think this is like the born evil yesterday trope, where now we are these evil bootlicking minions who have to go out into the world and discover kind of like who we are as people. And it's very bit heavy, as you can tell by the first episode. We do kind of get it together, but that first episode is just like, we're just gonna do bits for 2 hours,
which is delightful.
It was so much fun.
It's you, Dan Casey, Jason Wynn, and then Amy, as I said, running the game. And like really tough decisions, like, do we join a union?
And we are bootlickers. So our first thing is like, while we do say like we are not scabs, we are very much like, we don't understand what a union is. We are evil. We like licking boots. We are bootlickers. Do not take our boots away from us. Do not give us power.
Yes, I love Dan Casey going from not knowing what the word union is to instantly be like, but we're not scabs, to make it very clear we're not going to cross that line.
And then making the Thrash Hartley pun, which I died. That was honestly one of those moments where I was like, I think we're going to be all right. I think the show's going to be all right. I think we got it.
Yeah, it's so much fun. Busy the skeleton, absolutely delightful. A bard with 0 charisma is a choice for sure.
Yep. We run up on that. And because, and my justification being, again, Busy doesn't know anything of the world. Busy has no charm. Right now, Busy's biggest things is that if she is a bootlicker, but she's going to be the top bootlicker. She is, the Dwight. She's like Dungeon Dwight. Like, she wants to be the top bootlicker, with her little clipboard. And so, we do run up against that. And Amy at one point did I don't remember if it was on camera or if we were prepping. She just goes, "No charisma, huh?" And I go, "Yeah, I know. I was making story choices and I've boned myself."
That's so funny. Yeah. It's the right story choice, but oh boy, that's a tough character choice. Obviously the minion isn't going to have charisma. They wouldn't be a minion. They'd at least be like
not
a
to start
lieutenant.
off with.
Right. It's so funny. Yeah, when those character sheets popped up, everyone else, I was like, yeah, okay. I'm not working with a lot, but okay. And then if yours popped up, I was like, this could be trouble.
Danielle's made choices. We don't know if they're good ones. We know they were strong.
Yeah, delightful. Obviously, like, it's Jason's got a goblin. Dan has another skeleton.
Yes.
Like I said, the first episode is super, super fun. I also just like shout out to having 90-minute to 2 hour long episodes. Ooh, I love a thing that I can like knock out in a night.
We're really trying to be that thing that you do where you're like, I can commit to this. This is 90 minutes to, this is not 4 hours. This is not my entire night. I don't have to break this one episode into, a week. Because they're much like with wrestling. There is a fantastic problem right now where there is so much to watch and it's great and we're all spoiled for choice, but that also means there's a lot of choice. So maybe, and also we are I don't know if you can tell that we're kind of a comedy, like a comedy, like a Three Stooges almost comedy. And
there were people climbing on shoulders in the first episode. Like,
yeah, I'm like using my bone as like a broom at some point. So there's a reason why 90 minutes became the perfect movie length for broad comedies. And so 90 minutes to 2 hours feels right for how broad we are at times.
Yeah. It's super fun. I mean, speaking of having to split things into 2 parts, Mismatch was supposed to be 10 episodes, and then it had to get pushed to 11, right? Like that has to be the thing, right?
I have no idea. Okay. They tell me nothing. I have no idea. Right. I only know that I went in and I only know that we did 11 episodes. I know nothing.
Great. I will get to it, but I don't want to lose Goblin mode because it is so much fun. How was character creation then? It's an artificer, a bard, and a wizard.
Yes.
So like,
yes,
we're level 1, so I mean, all squishy all the time, but maybe a squishy party.
Which is you would be amazed how not squishy an artificer is. We learned very quickly how I'm very excited for everyone to watch. Especially, I learned a lot about how breaky and broken, or I wouldn't call them broken, but how you could really make an artificer quite OP if you choose to, and it's great. But very squishy crew. Again, I don't know if it was just we all wanted the fun of being extra bumbly until we start learning things and getting better being out of the dungeon. But yeah, we've got no fists. None of us have hands. There are no hands between the 3 of us. We are a handless party. But it makes sense because you, at this point in the show, you do feel like you could just come up and just like mush us in the face. Like we are also, much like I like to mush, we are mushable. You could just grab any of us and punk us and we'd be like, okay, well, probably.
Yeah.
Depending on who you are and how scary and overlordy you seem.
Right. And be like, no, this was how it always had to end. It's super fun. I really enjoyed, like I said, that first episode. It is also really fun to just have like Geek and Sundry back making things. Like it feels like such a, when I posted the first, because I talked to Amy about the show, a week or 2 ago, who knows what time is, and like it was before the first episode because the first episode was yesterday, but like when we talked about it, like I posted a video and people were like, oh, I didn't know Geek and Sundry was still around. I was like, well, they kind of weren't. They were mostly reposting old stuff. I think, is it exciting to be like, oh, is it exciting or terrifying to be like, we're the flagship Geek and Sundry show coming back?
I think that second one, I think you hit that second one really well. Yeah. So I was doing TTRPGs. I was doing a lot of stuff with Hyper, I think back when Geek and Sundry was still really going. And I had been doing work with Nerdist. I just hadn't very specifically been on Geek and Sundry before. So I think this is like my first time being on the channel. So then there's that with all of the history and everything that the folks who worked there had built before and had built it. And so for me, I'm just like, I hope that the work that I bring can at least like be a good part of kind of like that legacy and that history that had been built. But you can't think about it that way. You just have to think about it as I want to come in and do bone stuff, because if you get too lost into thinking of the history and the legacy of this brand, you'll get into your own head. And I just want to use my arms as brooms. So
yeah. That's fair. And I mean, I think you got the perfect DM to pull that off. Amy is there for bits.
Amy, yes, she is there for bits. Amy is, I never played with her ever, and I'd never played with her as a DM. And what a delight. This world that she has built, I am incredibly excited for everyone to get to see this and see the story. I've seen that she said that this is a story about agency, and it really is. It's really about, like, going from, as she says, video game code, going from being, the when you're watching Lord of the Rings and you immediately strike down, the first minion that comes up, like, we don't know their backstory. They're just, you go from being that to learning how to move and operate in this world and make decisions and make choices. And I like that there's that kernel of this. And we get to touch on other fun things too, of, like, what does it mean to go in the world as a goblin and two skeletons? Like, what does that mean? In a world where there are heroes, gallantlings, as we call them, in the world where there are adventurers and we are on the opposite side of that, what does that look like? And so these are all really fun things to get to play, while also being as goofy and doing as much spoken physical comedy as you can do.
Yeah. Also, like, beautiful set design, beautiful sound design.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
Professional all the way down.
Yeah, that set is gorgeous, and it looks, it is not a Monet. It only gets more gorgeous as you get up and inspect it closely. There are little bits in the set and little details where when they pull out, I'm almost bummed, because I'm like, I don't know if people are going to see some of the detail on some of those tapestries, the detail in that huge goblin that we've got in the back. And the sound design, I kind of knew that there was going to be quite a bit, because this is also, I think, along with Realm Podcasting Network. You can listen to it anywhere you get podcasts, but it's along with Realm. And so, knowing that it's going to be a podcast, I knew there was going to be some of that. I didn't realize just how, like, deep the sound design was going to go for that. So there are even, there are moments in the sound where there are jokes and moments where it's like, oh, the background music's getting a little amorous, or, oh, that's a wicked guitar lick. These little things, along with, obviously, I'm looking for terms and my brain doesn't work because it's hot. But like sound effects and things of that nature. And so I knew there was going to be some of that. I did not realize how cool it was going to be when listening back to it. That editing team and the team that worked is just top notch, just great team to work with. And the effects inside the studio, people noticed, there's some of those lighting changes that happen where, and there's more to come. It's great. It was beautiful. And it helps you be really incredibly immersive. They really put their foot in it in that good way. And I always have to say that because I use that phrase a lot, in the Black way, not in the like, I said the wrong thing way.
Yeah.
Which I also do. Yeah.
Yeah. I think, did you use that on I saw you, Amy shared a video that you then shared, and you're like, we put our foot in it in a Black way.
Because I feel like I have to be specific, because I know that does have two specific terms. I didn't realize that. And then someone was like, is that bad? No, it's a really high compliment. It's a very high compliment for Amy and her storytelling skills. And the way that she's built this world out. Yeah. And also just, she's so funny. And she's got a woman of 1,000 voices, just accents and voices. And the fact that you hear Mimsy and Deb in there, and they are two incredibly different and unique, and you can hear the differences in them, but they are the same kind of, like, they hit a lot of the same kind of auditory, the accent that very much, that HR, that corporate speak, and the way that she's able to do it so that you can differentiate the two of them. That opening scene where the Gallantlings, this isn't like huge spoilers, this is just the plot, where the Gallantlings come in and we first hear them talk, it's just Amy doing bits with herself for like 2 minutes, and it's amazing.
It's great. Yeah. A trained actor. Showing off her craft. Also, man, shout out to finding a locket with 2 faces and be like, no, that's what friends do. Friends put faces in lockets. Just so good.
We're so stupid. It's so good.
Yeah.
I
So
love
good.
playing stupidies. I do love playing dummies, whether it's a naive kind of dumb or an evil kind of dumb or a sweet kind of dumb. If you let me play someone who is very, very stupid, I'm going to have the best time at a table.
Truly the best time. I was trying to my brain immediately was like, was Anastasia Tension dumb? And like,
she was probably one of the only smart characters I've ever played.
Yeah, I was like, oh no, the transition out of this is not going to be smooth. The opposite of playing dumb. There's the transition. Oh man, Anastasia Tension, which I'll say for someone that I'm going to say it right now, attention. Someone like right now is learning for the first time that is what your character's pun was. Because universally, whenever you explain a pun, someone goes, "I didn't get it until this exact moment."
Nice.
So good. Like all of besides the name, Mentopolis. What an incredible season. Like just a joy. Assuming.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. That was getting to like play in that, and there were very and everyone, you know, deciding like what parts of the brain and synapses and things that we wanted to be in this world, along with combining it with that noir. I was very heavy, and I feel like I wore this on my sleeve. I'm a huge fan of His Girl Friday. I love that movie. I love the banter. I love the back and forth. So obviously that's where a lot of kind of my inspiration came from. And then getting to be chaotic cousins with Siobhan was amazing. And then having kind of that very adversarial back and forth relationship with Mike Trapp, Hunch Curio, getting to see how incredibly talented Alex, they make it look so easy to be that funny that it's dumb and offensive that they make it look so effortless to be as funny as they are. And then obviously Hank, just a delight. Hank is such a sweetheart. Hank was like, had this idea of like, hey, like everybody, we're all gonna switch dice, so at the end of the show we all swapped dice so that we would all have one from everybody at the table, which was so sweet. And then Freddie, so funny, also from Seattle. Let's go. Yeah, his vocal inflections and everything. That was another table. I keep telling people I am such a spoiled little baby. I get to play with some of the best people at some of the best tables, and it has made me a monster because I am a spoiled child. I'm trying to put together, not just as a home game, not for anyone to watch, because I want to do like a worldwide wrestling table, and I'm very excited. And it's just going to be a home game. It's going to be for me, and I'm very happy to do that. But it is one of those things where it's like, I'm spoiled. I'm a brat. But
yeah, like, hey, Brian Murphy, do you want to come join my home game? I'm a big wrestling fan.
Right,
he would say yes if he has the time. Who knows?
No one has the time. Well, no one has.
Yeah.
I don't have the time, which is why I've been talking about doing this for like a year. It's gonna happen. It just it has to come together when I have the time and when other folks have a time, and even then, it would probably only be like a monthly game unless it was something we did on Discord. Just because like I want to play it and I don't know of anyone else who does. But if anybody wants to check that out, that game is really fun. And if you don't understand wrestling, you will by the end of it, because whoever made it is a huge mark. So I pour over that book. There were parts of it where I was like, man, I've been watching wrestling since like the 90s. I didn't know that term. So it's really, really fun.
It's super fun. Yeah, I was in Seattle like 2 weekends ago, whenever PAX West was.
PAX? Yeah.
So I was there for one day. I saw very little of the city.
Well, you saw the Space Needle because you can't not see it. It's right there. Yes. So I used to work downtown, like right across from there. I used to work at the GameStops. There's like 2 of them. I used to work there back before they were GameStops. They were EBs. And I used to work at GameWorks for a while. But also Seattle is like this big. So
Yeah. At one point, as I was a special guest fact checker for actually, which was delightful, and because BDG was on vacation, having a much better time than like being at PAX West. Not that PAX West wasn't very fun, but he was on a literal beach. But at one point, like before the panel, I was like, oh, I gotta eat. And I found, I think it's like Taylor's Seafood or something to that effect.
Lot of seafood. You're going to find seafood downtown.
And
I
was like, great, I'm going to go get that. And I was walking to it. And, oh boy, the hills, no joke there.
Oh, the hills are not, like, if you go and you look up, that area is called Capitol Hill for a reason. That's usually where I would, like, live. That's one of those, like, when I'm trying to get back to, like, walking. Imagine I used to walk those hills, like, 2-3 miles a day.
Oof.
Yeah. That'll get your butt sitting up. That'll get it sitting up. That'll get them glutes going.
I hopped on a Lime scooter halfway up the hill. I was also in a suit, and I was going to like be in front of 1,000 people in an hour and a half. I was like, I gotta stop sweating.
And it's muggy, so you're gonna sweat immediately because Seattle is just a muggy, drenched, humid town. Just a sea level joint. Yeah.
Yep. It was 85 degrees, but I was having the sweats. So
you're making me homesick.
Then I went and had some. Oh man! And then went and had. Iffy and Emily had gone to dinner the night before at a place called Stateside, I believe. And they were like, "It's great." So I went and had dinner there, amazing, and then walked up the rest of the hill to a Salt and Something, the ice cream place.
Salt and Straw.
Yes, Salt and Straw. Thank you. Which I guess is out of Portland, but obviously all over the Pacific Northwest. So.
And you got to try Dick's too if you're ever back.
That's what
and you're
heard.
Just looking for like some good greasy food. If he's so sweet. When was it? I think it was maybe last year or the year before he went to Seattle and he brought me back. Like before on the way to the airport, he went and got, because it's a quick flight. It's like a 2-hour flight. So like right before he went and got me some Dick's and brought him back because he knew I was homesick.
Oh, that's so kind. He's just the nicest man.
He's such a good friend. He's really such a good friend. I can't hype him up enough.
Yeah, so he did like a meet and greet after the panel, and I just like hung out and chatted with Emily in like the back. And afterwards great. He was like, yeah, they're both fantastic. But afterwards he was like, hey, you need to be sitting up here with me next time so that everyone can talk to you too. And I was like, that's not why people are here, but thank you.
He'll do that. He will always, he is like number one homie hyper. He will always be like, you need to be where people can see you and are visible, because you will be surprised at how much people want that from you. And you'll be like, no, I don't. There'll be times when he's hyped me up to like go for jobs or things that I've gotten because I've been like, I don't know. I don't think I got the chops for this, or I don't think I have the following for this or whatever. And he's like, you are high. And if you don't do it, like, I'm going to make you feel bad about not doing it just by like reminding you that you are good and you are talented. He's a number one homie hyper. Things that Iffy is good at aside from being an amazing writer and actor and performer. Homie hyping, cracking backs.
Yep. Yeah. The week before that, he was in Austin doing stand-up. My wife and I went and saw him, and he cracked her back when he gave her a hug. And she was like, I feel better now. And I was like, yeah, his hugs are magic.
They are. Like,
yeah. I keep digging myself into a place where I have no way to transition out of. Wait, no.
You just said the word magic.
I just said the word magic. Damn it. If only I was better at this. I've just been doing this for like a year.
You're fantastic at this. It's weird for me because I'm usually where you are. I'm usually interviewing people. So I'm like, you're in my chair. So like, it's always weird for me to be the one interviewed because I have that thing of like, I don't know why anybody wants to talk to me about any of this stuff. I'll do it, but
speaking of reasons why people want to talk to you about stuff, there's a greasy transition for you.
Yeah,
Miss Madge 2, which I just learned you call Miss Madge and not Miss Mag, right as we were recording this because you said it, and I was like, that makes sense. It is magic. Trailer drop this week. I've been calling it for a month. How excited are you to be back playing Sam?
Oh, I love that little dummy so much. We filmed this earlier. I actually did these like one right after the other. Like I shot, so that was fantastic. And yeah, really happy to be back. Really happy to play at the table again. Obviously, again, I'm a little spoiled baby. I get to play at a table full of killers, and then I show up and like I'm also here. So yeah, just really really exciting, and to see like. Yeah, I am so pumped for everybody to see like what Abria has done with the world building in this, because like the first time we did it, there's obviously like this huge giddiness because this is like it's the first show back in the dome. We're
first
we're
guest
doing it.
DM.
Yeah, so it's there's a lot of stuff going on, and we're just like giddy. At one point in an adventuring party, we're just talking about how exciting it is to be in a room with other people where we could see each other's mouths, because that was a thing. So it was like this one wild weekend, these like 4 episodes, and then coming back and doing the Christmas episode, and now coming back, expanding, we're at 11 episodes, and getting to see all of the like world building and stuff that Abria has done with this and these characters, because like we're out of the school, we're like not in the school, we're dealing with these themes of like, as she says in the trailer, like discovering what it means to start coming into being an adult, and what that means. And yeah, and it's great, and it's as much fun as it is to get to play, these back-talky, sassy American teenagers. It's also fun to get to play them while they're in this transition period, trying to figure out what magic is going to look like now, and all of those things that we've, obviously, we touched on a lot of trying to bring it out, and seeing what it looks like, and being kind of these like magic animals, these magical disruptors,
in a good way, not in a Silicon Valley
way.
No,
not in a gross way, we're not going to make something that was already working just fine before, but just make it more expensive and dangerous. We would have safety. You would be able to wear yellow as a safety color, but unlike in some factories. So that was really fun. And going back, you can start to see, I think, some of the bones of what the expanding into this world are going to look like in the holiday special, because like I love, as much fun as it was to have like that, have like a weekend of just like hardcore fucking, I can say fucking, right?
Yeah, no, I was gonna say fuck turfs in a minute, but yes, you can say fucking.
But a fucking dunking on Joanne, for like for like four episodes. That's like, it's really hard to stick to. I think like to doing that to like 11 episodes. And so for this, there's so much like Abria has built out, using. Got all kinds of like sources of inspiration, like it's because obviously like we're not in the school, it's not like like the houses and all of the things like that, and so she's building out to pulling from like ancient myth and like fucking Percy Jackson and like things like that.
This is the Percy Jackson season.
That's and like pulling into and pulling into like a lot of different inspirations for her to fill out this world and take it from beyond what was kind of like pinpoint of what it was, where it was very heavy parody. Yeah. Again, that's really fun for 4 episodes. You can't carry that energy in for 11 episodes. Like, you have to tell a story that isn't just dunking on someone else's story for 11 episodes. And so I'm really honored that she built this world and that I got to be part of it. And we get to see these characters come back and like what that means and what that looks like for them. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I'm really excited to like people obviously. I mean, fuck turfs. We're very clear about that on this channel and most channels that I exist on. Yeah. I know people that don't swear and still are like, but fuck turfs. Like that's the one exception that I'll I know people were like not concerned, but like people were like, I don't want to be in magic school and like just give like that world any like headspace. And I was like, well, one, she didn't invent magic schools, but two, I'm pretty confident it's out of the school based on literally everything about the trailer. And a conversation I had with Abria about it when the trailer dropped. So I was like, yeah, I think you're good, gang. I think we're good. This is just a world with magic in it.
Yeah, it is. It is Abria's world with magic in it. It is now Abria's world, and Sam is living in it. Like it is. It is so much of this is, you know, again, taking her influences, you know, and storytell and stories that she enjoys and stories that she loves, and combining them and making her own like really, really cool thing. So I'm very excited to see that, because it's more of, if you see like a Burrow's End, if you see, you know, A Court of Fey and Flowers, like seeing what Abria can do when her brain just goes. And again, like I said, you can see some of her world building starting in the Christmas special, where she's creating her own myths and her own legends for this world and her own, you know, kind of, you know, ceremonies and things like that. And so it is really, it's Abria's world, and it's great.
Yeah. I you know, like the Christmas special, obviously the haunting like projection jumps to mind, but hey, let's talk about it. Tabby, holy shit, what is wrong with Abria?
Look, what is right with Abria? It's Tabby. Tabby's a real mixed feeling kind of character. Tabby's really like, I love Tabby. I fell in love with Tabby. I think that a lot of people are going to be very like a little squicked out by it, but we were not expecting, we didn't know what that was.
Yeah.
And then the projection hit it, and Lou, you see in the trailer, he's like, is that thing? And we're all like, that's gonna talk, isn't it? Because Abria loves to fuck us up.
Yep.
And that's what happened. And we got fucked up.
Yeah, I like having talked to a bunch of people like before the season started, like production folks talked to a bunch of them and be like, yeah, Jordan, Abria like the Brennan Abria arms race continues. And I was like, oh, I wonder what it's going to be, because obviously in Burrow's End, it's Polly the Bear. I was like, all right, what is the new thing? And getting to find it in the trailer of like, oh, it's Tabby the Nightmare. And I'm not saying there's not other amazing stuff, but like,
and y'all got to see the table. You get to see, you know, if that kind of, you know, and the mechanics of that, which are really cool. It's funny because I saw a couple people say like, oh, it's like actual kids on bikes, and I do want to preface, there are not wheels underneath. That is just us acting. And by acting, I mean, it's just us moving from one butt cheek to the other. Because we're so talented at acting. We can make you think we're actually riding a bike.
Yeah, so talented. Yeah, I would love it if you were actually powering the lights. Just like, no, we got to keep going.
We got to look, we got to get the generator going.
Yeah, and this season it seems to be more of, because it's, oh God, what were they calling it? Never Stop Magic? What are this?
Never Stop Making Magic, I believe.
Never Stop Making Magic. That's it. Yes. Yeah. I love that we're leaning into this, like, hey, we've made a really broken system. We're just going to let a bunch of people play it. Seems super fun. Obviously, not asking for spoilers or anything. Was it super fun?
It was great. So I got to play test the Never Stop Blowing Up system before the show started. I don't remember how many playtests they did, but I got to be in one of them. And so I was kind of familiar with it coming into this, and there's like some tinkering and some tailoring to make it more, to make it magic style. But it is really fun. It is super fun. There's so many layers to all of the new things that people are going to discover and see in this season, in terms of, the new mechanics of the new system, the new ways that Abria and the art team have found to fuck up our lives. I can't wait for everybody. I'm trying to think of like what I can say, but we're like 2 weeks out now or whatever it is.
We're getting there. Yeah,
we're getting there.
I just love, like, because in Burrow's End, you got to see Brennan's face as he realizes that the bear is going to open. In this, like, in the trailer, we get to see Brennan's face, and he goes, it's going to talk. And you can see him just be like, ooh, a thing that I didn't do first.
And just resigned. Like, all of us were just resigned to, it's like, okay, this is how you're going to ruin my life.
Yeah.
Take real good, real
just,
good.
At least abusing Carlos Luna to record voiceover. A trend I hope never stops.
And also like in the back on the mic, like while we're doing it, I'm not sure, like I don't know if they went back and ADR'd any of like stuff for him. I would assume that they probably would have, but we are talking to Carlos as Tabby on set.
So good.
Fucked me up entirely. I mean, like the elk or the Tad Tedesha Court in Mismatch, obviously, or Mismatch the holiday special, obviously completely fucked us up because I was not expecting that projection to suddenly happen, and I do the thing that I always do, which protect the boobs first. Apparently, I didn't know that was a thing that I did until I watched it back and went, oh yeah, the first thing I did was go save the girls, which is upsetting. And then
a very specific fight or flight.
And then and then just the gorgeous way that the lights and the production and everything were used in the next season that I did, which was Mentopolis. I only do the M seasons at D20, I guess. It's just all next time there's an M season, call me. So and then coming back, it is always like, okay, what's gonna be the new thing? Like what do we see next? And obviously Tabby completely fucked us up, but everything happening with that table is amazing. And the first time you're just like a kid, you just want to touch it and play with it, and like you get to on these because the way that they're designed, like Rick Perry and the art team and Abria and everyone, and it is complicated, and I don't understand how any of it works. I just say the fun words. I just go on there and I say the fun words, and I let the smart people do smart people things.
Yeah, it's one of the joys of doing this weird little show where I like interview a bunch of the people that do the smart people things. Just like, hey, we built a thing, and I'm like, all right, how'd you make the heartbeat? And they're like, oh, let me tell you. They're like, I bought do you want it? So it's because this is so good. It's like an ornament that spins, like a Christmas ornament, and they pulled the shell off of it and like put the motor, and so that it makes like a beating motion because it's trying to spin. And that was what it was. That's how the heartbeat happened in the bear.
And my understanding is just a lot of emails back and forth of what exactly a decomposing bear would look like on the inside. Because and that's when you remember that Abria used to work in a I think it's Plasta's Smart Words, but she used to work in one of those labs where she handled bodies and things.
Yeah, and Rick Perry like grew up in Texas hunting, so like he would come in and be like, needs to be more white in here, and they're like, gross, Rick.
You just know that off rip. Oh, those are things that the both of you just know. There was no Googling for that. That was an education. Tight. Top of the mind, tip of the tongue. You did not need to go double check. Tight.
Yeah. Incredible. It's so delightful. Well, you've now played for Brennan and Abria, which is a very small club of folks that have gotten to do that.
Again, very spoiled baby. Very spoiled.
Do you know that Abria and I have a full blood feud? Is that a thing that has like made it to your circle of the internet?
A little bit about this blood feud. I'm intrigued and a little scared, and I would be lying if I said I wasn't scared for you specifically.
I'm periodically people be like, I'm on Abria's side. I'm like, no shit, everybody is. Like, I'm gonna lose, but like,
I remember what was it? One of I don't remember if it was the Hard Times, but someone put out an idea if there was like a DM battle royale, and before I even read it, I was like, well, Abria wins.
Yeah,
Abria wins because like look, and all great. Many of them are friends of mine, but when you think of, especially if you're going between Abria and Brennan. Because in my thinking, Brennan can be ruthless and whatever. I imagine that Brennan would also, when it comes to actually like killing and there being like a person trying to make people kill, he is going to be at a point where he is going to try to be like, why are we not fighting the real enemy? Like everyone get together. Like it's about the systems of oppression. And why aren't we not taking down and we should all be working together? Oh, and then he dies because Abria has stabbed him through the throat. Is my thought. That's my thing.
I agree.
I don't know.
My only qualm with that list was I thought Murph was way too low because, like, you got to give Jersey Dirtbag like a much higher spot. Like, he's not gonna play nice and fight clean. Like, he's gonna fight dirty. Like don't put him at the bottom of the list.
And and also like Abria, very comfortable around dead bodies. So like at a certain point, she's just gonna start thinking of you as
group,
and she's just gonna start thinking of you as parts and meat, because that is everything she does. Whether it's meat and parts for athletics, or meat and parts for when she worked in the lab. At a certain point, everyone's just moving meat. So and she knows how those work in every possible way that you could. Yeah,
it's horrifying.
It's an undeniable advantage, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, my life is forfeit the moment it actually happens in person, but it's fine.
Bud. This was fun though. I'm glad I got to talk to you before it happened.
Yeah, it's cool. It's one of the most delightful things that's ever happened to me is her declaring that we have a blood feud. I'm like, great. And then people will like pester me to be like, why don't we have a feud? I'm like, I got a Bria already, right? Like, I'm not gonna open myself to other feuds. Like,
you don't have to. Who has time for another feud? This is like an all-encompassing.
I got S tier already. I'm not going for whatever you're offering. Like,
and you also just don't have time. Like this is the kind of feud that is all encompassing. It will be your entire life, to the point where if someone tries to kill one of you first, the other one will intervene, because that is for you to do.
Exactly. Yeah. You get it.
I get it.
Speaking of smashing people's faces, Thousand Airs.
Yeah.
What a delightful episode that was. The whole season was delight. We started with wrestling. We should end with wrestling. How much fun was that to get to put on the spandex, get some chair hits in? Oh, it looked like so much fun.
That was wild. So like they sent me the email asking if I wanted to do it, and it was basically like, hey, this is kind of like an adult show and tell, like what would you like to do? That was the way that it was kind of pitched to me. And I think I sent them an email back like 5 minutes after they sent it to me that said I want to show wrestling to my friends. I want to do a wrestling match. And so we kind of went back on the back and forth of that. And then because my idea was I was going to have a couple of wrestlers come in, they were going to put on a match, and then maybe like I would get involved from somehow, or someone would get involved by like hitting them with a chair. And then the idea was pitched to me like, why don't you do the wrestling? You should wrestle. And I was like, are you sure? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, and that's when I was kind of thinking, because I've been having so many, like, I wrote like a big long thing about it, so I never have to talk about it again. But so my body was all like,
sorry.
No, it's fine. No, my body's all like broken, or what? Don't get hit by a bus. I guess is like, that's, if you take anything away from this interview, don't get hit by a bus if you have a choice in the matter. I didn't. I wish I had. But so and it's gotten like, it was, significantly like terrible, like the injuries like last year and the year before, they were really starting to really combine, and I walked a lot with a cane, and it was just really bad. And so I was like, this might be my last opportunity to get to do something like this, and so I would like to take them up on this offer to be the one who actually wrestles. If nothing else, I now have this on camera. This is something I can enjoy. And then, like just, I kind of started blocking out the way I wanted the match to go, sort of keeping like my non-existent back in consideration. And doing like some stretches and starting to like be like, let's see what I can do so I don't hurt myself. And then I get there on the day and I meet Pretty Peter Avalon, who is amazing. And he's like, sorry to break kayfabe here. And so he's like, and I kind of run through the match. And he's like, well, hey, I have some ideas. You said you've got like some mobility stuff. Why don't we do, what if we did it this way, that way, and that way? And I mean, yeah, we can do the good way that you just said. We don't have to do it my bad way. You can do it. We can do it the good way that the wrestler recommended. And so we did that. And that was super fun. And I was in so much pain for the rest of the day. And they edited it, but I actually threw up at one point. Yeah. Right before I went to go hit my piñata for Amy's wonderful gift to us, which was piñatas with our own faces on them,
and filled with your favorite candies.
And filled with our favorite candies.
Touch.
Amazing. And we're sitting there like swapping candies. Like, this is matcha. I know you like matcha. We like right before I get up there, I've got the bat, and I'm like, oh, if I spin right now, I'm going to puke all over set. And so I had to like walk over and just be like, just 1 second. And so I walk over and I like puke. And it was just from like, my body was very much like, what are we doing? We haven't done anything like this in like forever. And I thought that thing about athletes exerting themselves to the point where they threw up was like a lie. And I am not an athlete. And so of course it makes sense that I would extra throw up. And so, yeah, I went and just like threw up, and then they were like, you do not have, you can leave right now. And I was like, no, I'm good. Put me back in. When I used to drink, I was a champion puker and then right back at, and I was like, I'm just because I'm not drinking doesn't mean I'm not still good about getting back into the game. And so then I went and I spun around and I hit my pinata, and I was fine for the rest of the day. I just had to get the evil out. But yeah, no, that was a fantastic day, and I loved how hyped people got when they saw Pretty Peter Avalon in the trailer, because I have been a huge fan watching him on the indies. And then I remember when he started doing stuff for AEW, I was like super psyched, because I go to a lot of like, it's not really happening right now, but like PWG here in Southern California is kind of it's a great place to go. It's kind of like going to like the UCB version of a wrestling match, in that you're gonna go and there are gonna be some like famous people that you have seen who you might just be in the audience watching. Triple H has been known to like be backstage watching people, and these are like where your up and coming stars are going to be, and it's in Southern California. So I've gotten to see a lot of really good wrestling with that, and so yeah, him being available was just beautiful and wonderful.
That's so amazing.
It was a great day. Yeah, we had such feral sleepover bachelorette party energy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there was a strip show, so that like that checks into like a bachelorette energy.
With our faces on butt cheeks. Becca Amazing. Is the best kind of menace. We just went to a birthday party at Medieval Times.
I saw the pictures. It looked like so much fun.
Becca's such a delightful menace. Love Becca so much. And of course, like the tattoos on the butt. Like who else? Would have come up with that. Beautiful.
So good. And then obviously your own signature scent. Do you still have your Sam Black scent, or okay?
I still do. I haven't used all of it. It is very, I get now smelling it again why it was like, oh, that's interesting. I'm like, okay, I kind of get it now, because it does lean a little more. I think I was going for girly and fruity, but I didn't know enough about scents at that point to be able to make, now that because I'm not even kidding, like, and me and Erica have talked about this, after Seffi kind of introduced us to that, I've kind of gotten really into scent now, because of like the science and like scent math and the way that like it, like the way that affects the environment, like your environment around you, because scent is so tied to memory and things like that, that like I've been on like that I think it's pronounced fragrantia, whatever, someone will fix it, where you can go and look at like different notes and see about the different notes. So getting to learn about that there was so much fun. And I think it's like Scentmalier. I don't think that's a real term. I think I just made that up. But the Scentmalier,
it should be a real term.
Yeah, it's a real term now. Was fantastic and amazing. And so now that I know a little bit more, I think I know what Sam's scent would be. Like I like a lot of what I did in that, but I could see how I would fix it and make it, because it does read a little mature.
Sam Scent season 1. Now you can get Sam Scent season 2.
Sam Scent season 2, exactly.
She's coming to her own more.
Sam's definitely. It was really fun to get to play with this world. I think that we get to see a lot of we get to see a lot of everyone, but you really get really deep into like Jammer. Some really great stuff with Lou. I got to dig deep into Sam. I got sniped a couple times. Right through the duplex, but that's fine. We're all gonna be okay. But I think we all got sniped a couple times this season. I definitely for sure did. It was great, and I couldn't ask for like, if I'm gonna get sniped at the table, I couldn't ask for a better group of folks to have that happen with.
Yeah. Just an amazing. God, what a cast. I mean, obviously, they went on to do Worlds Beyond Number. They it's a good table to sit at. Yeah.
God, Worlds Beyond Number is so good. Obviously there are where they break my heart, and then there's Erica doing her shot with the fair and everything. Oh, I love them.
The
so
county
much.
fair is I got to talk to them yesterday. Erica, Erica, Brennan, Abria, and Taylor. And I got to do I got a good snipe in on Erica, because I was like, I want to talk about the most fun I've ever had, and very leaned real hard into, obviously was going to talk about the Wizard of Witch and the Wild One, and I was like, a county affair, and Erica was like, oh no,
God, so much fun. I want to, it's one of those moments where you go, oh, I want to be at a table with you DMing real bad, baby guy, real bad.
So good. Oh, Danielle, this has been an absolute delight.
Thank you so much for having me.
We've got Tights and Fights, right?
Tights and Fights,
on the Max Fun Network. We've got Goblin Mode on Geek and Sundry. We've got Mismatch 2 on Dropout. Where else can people find you across the internets?
So I'm still on Twitter, clinging on like it's a door to the Titanic. And that's just a Danielle Radford. I announced up there. I'm trying really hard, because that place is that place right now. I'm trying really hard to do more posting on the Pretty People website. So I am doing more posting on Instagram. We will see how that works. It helps when you have a bunch of projects, because now I have more things to plug. So you could find me those places. I'll probably start trying to do more threads in Blue Sky, but really, I'm heavy on Instagram right now, doing a lot of stuff, and still on the Twitter. It's weird because I think they're changing the algorithm to try to trick me into blue checking, which I will not do, because right now I have not gotten any more popular or clever in the past 3 or 4 months, and yet a lot of the stuff I'm doing is hitting numbers, and I'm like, I feel like I'm being tricked into trying to trying to get me to buy blue, and I will not. I refuse.
I feel that as well. Yeah, I've had that. At least I'm not on the Twitter anymore, but at least on Instagram, I've seen some numbers, and they're like, "You want to give us $15?" And I'm like, I don't actually.
I don't want to do that. I'm not a business. I'm a person.
Yep. Amazing. This is so delightful. Can't wait for more. Everything that you do. Thank you so much. And I don't know how to end an interview, so I'm just going to hit stop recording.
Hey.